That's dope. That's dope.
What is up, everybody? Happy Monday afternoon. And I say happy because things are going up. And everyone's happy when things are going up, obviously. We obviously reviewed all the charts this morning, things playing out nicely. Bitcoin making some beautiful moves, which puts a smile on everyone's face, especially because we were all apparently calling for a bear market and for price to go to $2,000 by next week. If you listen to Twitter, where we had extreme fear. So today we're doing something a little different, which is really exciting. As you guys know, I love talking to guests. You watch my podcast all the time, but every once in a while I get the opportunity to bring a friend on and to do an AMA and learn, kind of do a deeper dive and learn all about a specific project or something. And I'm proud to say Horizen also is a podcast sponsor now. So that's something else that I'm really, really proud of that they've chosen to partner with us on. So today's guest, I'm going to bring him on right now. What's up, Rob? So we got Rob Viglione, whose name I asked him how many different pronunciations we get of your name. How many would you say roughly you hear on a day-to-day basis?
Hey, Scott, at least 5, and I probably say it 5 different ways myself. So I don't take my name too seriously.
That's good. I'm glad, because I've definitely butchered a few people's names who did take their name seriously, and I heard about it afterwards. Because for those of you who don't know, Rob is the co-founder and CEO of Horizen. We're going to let him tell you all about what it is. I joked to him before that when I read his bio, I felt like it was like either James Bond or like the most interesting man in the world from the Corona commercials, because he's got a PhD, an MBA. He's been an advisor and worked on countless projects. And then the last line of his bio is, and is also a scientist in the space industry, right? Just casually a rocket scientist, So I'd love to hear a bit more about your background and what brought you to starting Horizen in the first place.
I wish I was that interesting, but yeah, I mean, I guess you kind of summarized it. I kicked off my career actually in the military, in the Air Force, and I was a physicist, mathematician, and started as a junior officer working in Space Command. So on satellite radar programs, launch vehicles, getting them up into space. Then I went more to the operational intelligence side of the game. I fell in love with Bitcoin early enough where I can kind of step away from that old career. And I went back to academia. Studied finance, economics, got my PhD in that, and actually had a crazy finance department that allowed me to study Bitcoin for my actual academic research. So I did that. Wow. And actually, at the time in 2014, when I started the program, they thought I was just nuts. By the time I was done with the program, they're asking me to teach courses on blockchain. So it was kind of fun. And from there, I launched Horizen, or co-founded Horizen, and then Horizen Labs.
That's cool. I went to space camp in Alabama when I was a kid, so I feel like we're pretty much
totally
similar background.
Totally
background. I was there for a week, and I did a mock mission on the space shuttle. So I'm basically an astronaut as well. So listen,
closer than I am. So
better than me giving like the rattling off all the amazing things about the project or what you're doing. I would just love for you to give the background, tell everybody what it is and why it matters, why it's important.
Hey, as we were talking just before we kicked this off live, you said that actually the best way just to summarize it real quick, and then we can go into details. So basically, think Cosmos meets Mina. So basically, we've got an interoperable blockchain standard.
Hardest word in the game.
Yeah, we have totally replaced certifiers, like these central certifiers where you can have side chains operating with a main chain. We replace them with SNARKs. So it's a zero knowledge specific type of application that allows you to communicate, in this instance, communicate between blockchains and do it at massive scale. So basically it's like Cosmos is IBC, but one where you can have 10,000 blockchains operating in parallel. And we go live with it on this Wednesday, December 1st. Wow. Some interesting attributes though, it's completely consensus agnostic. So we don't care what type of consensus you have. We're launching some SDKs where you can deploy your own blockchains on it. And those are proof of stake using Ouroboros Proust. So it's kind of like mini versions of Cardano running in our ecosystem, but it doesn't matter. We're actually going to launch an EVM next. So we're going to have Ethereum compatibility. And really from there, you can do anything. Any type of consensus, doesn't matter. You can have your proof of work running as a sidechain, your proof of stake, proof of whatever. We don't care as long as you adhere to the interoperability standard.
Yeah, incredible. And obviously, we all love a lot of these projects. Those are two of my favorites. Like, I'm a big fan of both Adam and Mina, and so it's incredible to see a project that marries both of those two things. That sort of less specific, but my opinion, you always hear sort of the term Ethereum killer, right? There's going to be this one chain to rule them all, sort of like Sauron in the Eye, right? I've always believed that it'll be a multi-chain world, and we'll see sort of each one find nuance or some special use case or something that it's really, really excels at. Is that sort of, I have to imagine, because you're obviously working on interoperability, the hardest word in crypto, because you're working on that is your view as well. Is that sort of the approach that you took and why you're doing it in the way you are?
Completely. I've never been a one chain to rule them all kind of guy. I really do think that just from even just the economics of these systems, look, you have network effects. And this is why people always say there will be one chain to rule them all, because it'll have the biggest network. So did MySpace. Really, how did that work out for them? Right. So, it goes beyond that. The other effect is like creativity, innovation, and like a constant pace of trying new things. That's why I'm just a long-term believer in a multi-blockchain ecosystem, because the innovation is never going to stop. It doesn't matter. It comes from every corner of the world. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're from. There will be innovators trying to disrupt what you're doing. Doesn't matter how many users of your platform you have. There will be another hot platform that launches that solves problems specifically better than you can. Right. So you have to embrace competition and just run with it.
Yeah, agreed. So before we continue on, I want to tell everybody a few important things. One is if you look down in the description, you can read everything about Horizen and get more links, but also they're very kindly, and I didn't mention at the beginning, giving away $1,000 in Zen. It's going to run for a week. So there's a link right down below where you can win $1,000 in Zen tokens, and you can enter as many times as you want. I actually entered right before we got on to test it, and I intend to win, even though I don't get to choose. But I'm in there against you guys. Just want you to know, we're also going to give away some swag at the end, and you can get 50% off anything in the store with the discount code down below. So that's really important. I also want to remind you, this is an AMA. It's not supposed to be just Rob and I sitting here talking to one another. The whole point is for you guys to be able to ask questions and to engage and find out everything that you want to know. So Rob, I'd like you to talk a bit more about what's happening on Wednesday, because obviously that's huge.
Yeah, Wednesday is when our protocol goes live. So we've been working on this bad boy for a little over 3 years now. The project's been alive for almost 5 years. But before that, we were just a blockchain that supports a cryptocurrency, kind of like a privacy-oriented cryptocurrency like Zcash. We're big in SNARKs, big in zero-knowledge crypto. This thing that goes live on Wednesday is that big interoperability protocol. So basically, this takes us from being a cryptocurrency-only type of blockchain to now you can launch 10,000 blockchains to do anything. So it's a programmable set of network blockchains that we're launching. It's a really big deal for us. It kind of changes the entire nature of our project.
Perfect. So I'm going to start. I don't know if you mind, but the questions are rolling in, and I don't want to get way behind. So I'm going to let people start asking questions. Yeah. So first, hopefully you can see these. Does Zen have Masternodes? The first question we have here.
We do. Thank you for the lead on that, whoever asked that question. But we actually have the largest Masternode project in the industry. We have something like 50,000 nodes running, compensated nodes on our network. So we probably have over 50,000 nodes, but 50,000 of them actually register for compensation. That's a pretty good program.
That's incredible. How did you build a network that large? That's bigger than
economics.
Ethereum. It's probably good economics. Bigger than a Bitcoin Ethereum combined, right? So
what we did actually, we made it difficult to launch a node. So we made people intentionally go through hoops because we wanted to get IT professionals to join our network, because we wanted like a large network, but we wanted it to be resilient, where we wanted people who knew what they were doing and deploying servers to actually be the ones doing it. So we set like a low economic threshold in terms of staking, a relatively high payment threshold. So 20% of our block reward goes to compensate the node operators. But we have a bunch of specific technical requirements in there as well, where we wanted to make sure that we actually had a very robust network.
Perfect. So I'm going through the questions there. If you guys see me staring off to the side, it's not because I'm not paying attention, it's because I actually have to read your questions. What about crypto Bitcoin captured your attention? That's a great question, because you said you sort of found it. You obviously started teaching it, you studied it, but 2014, most people dismissed it, myself, sadly.
I was one of these crazy people that loved the idea of separating money from state. So to me, that was the big innovation. Like the first app on blockchain is Bitcoin, right? This idea of private money, basically competing the idea of money. I got into it and started teaching it when I was living in Afghanistan, actually. And it was there that I saw firsthand people did not trust their central bank. They rightfully understood when the coalition that was in the country left, the Afghani, their currency would collapse. And that's where I saw the biggest value. So to me, it just really run home. wow, this thing, maybe we don't think it's so valuable in the US or Western Europe where you have super robust, well, now it is super valuable, never mind. But, in terms of like replacing credit cards and things like that, we have pretty good, payment systems and capital markets, but it's in the developing world where people really need this stuff. And that's what really drew me into it.
Yeah, my friend Andrew Elliott is the CEO of a company called Roundly X, was in the military in Afghanistan as well. And he told a very, very similar story, and then added to it the fact he was like, and we didn't even have power, but there was a cell phone store, right? He's like, we had basically no electricity, no running water, no anything, but everybody had a phone, right? They basically skipped the internet generation.
No, for sure. Exactly.
Yeah, which I found. So a follow-up question to the node question. Someone asked a cost for each. I don't know if you said that specifically.
Yeah, I mean, so there's two components of cost. One is it does require Zen to be staked, right? So this is a staking system, the Masternode system. There are two node types that we have, two tiers. One is you stake 42 Zen. Right now, Zen's like $115 per Zen. And the other is a super node. You stake 500 Zen, all right? So that's the Zen cost. Then there's just the cost of running a server, which is something like $2 to $10, depending on whether you're running a secure node or a super node.
Perfect. Got it. So here's what is Horizen calling it IBC for interoperability like Cosmos? Is that like basically the term now for that in the industry?
We're not actually. No, we went our own way, for better or worse. We call it Zen-Do. And the reason there was because actually our software daemon was called Zen-D forever. And then we added the OO, Zen-Do, like it's like a infinity sign. So it basically takes us to like infinite frontier here, the infinite horizon.
I want to know for myself, I'm curious. So obviously you said you've basically been supporting this one blockchain, obviously the Zen token, this entire time. What is the process like for beta testing and preparing for a launch of this size?
Good God. This is, it takes years, everything from thorough design to project management to really making sure you know what you're doing. But then from there, I can say, I wish we did maybe, we had more resources when we first started, but we were super resource constrained. We had a small, scrappy team throughout the bear market, and we've been around for a while, right? So what we did is, ideally, like you would want to continue like a CI/CD process, continuous integration, continuous development, throw things onto a test net as soon as you can, but and then like develop from there. But what we've done is we have done actually 2 code audits in addition to all that normal development work, everything from like unit testing to integration testing to system testing on our own. We did 2 audits on the code base, 2 separate audits. And now we're in process of a HackerOne competition to try to get all white hats out there to try to break it. We've been doing this for a while now, and thus far, like we've actually had some really good inputs from the community on like bug fixes. So it's been very confident with the process.
I was going to say, how successful have the white hat hackers been? They always are.
So I mean, like I'm kind of proud to say not that successful, but also scared to say not that successful because also with our audits, like our audits came through like very rigorous evaluation of the code base, but they didn't find much substantive, fixes that we had to do. And there were some for sure, but I mean, you would think that a code base you've been working on for 3 years, that's hundreds of thousands of lines of code across thousands of software files, would have more than say like a few dozen bug fixes. But that's really all we've been able to find so far across multiple teams. That's
awesome. So Kareem wants to know, any partnerships happening in the near future?
We have a ton, absolutely. And one that's public already, so I can talk about it, is we're partnered with the Bored Ape Yacht Club, our favorite NFT brand out there. I love these guys. And what we're doing for them, and we're helping them out with, just to be clear, we're helping them out with their token launch, right? But the idea is to cultivate this relationship when Horizen itself has its own NFT platform. We want them to be our premier VIP brand to really kick things off. Now, we do have some other really big ones. We're actually, this week, we're going to announce, if you just stay tuned, we're going to announce a huge one, actually, with a very famous like gaming company that is launching a sports metaverse play that I think is going to be one of the hottest projects in 2022. They're building that entirely native on Horizen. So it's going to be a huge NFT, token launch, stablecoin play, all rolled up into one kind of completely simulated sports metaverse. So it's pretty awesome.
Well, I mean, I've read, I think publicly, the companies like Celsius.
Dash, oh, right. Yeah, sorry. I was only thinking the new ones.
I know that you have others that are coming, which is what they asked about, but people might not be aware of how much is actually being built.
It's true. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Actually, Celsius is probably the kind of like geeky, coolest project that we're working on, because what we figured out how to do is use zero knowledge cryptography with our sidechain system to do decentralized audit. So basically all these CeFi apps that are enormously popular, like Celsius, including custodians, exchanges, and so forth, anyone who custodies digital assets can use our product to actually have cryptographic real-time audit of their reserves. It's visible to the public without revealing any of the transaction flows or the account balances. But you can just tell, like, the total balance is exactly what it needs to be, right? And cryptographically provable without seeing any of the, say, retail, or institutional client flows or anything like that. So it's a pretty powerful product. That one itself, and like, I hate to say like too many buzzwords, but it's kind of like we're building a snarkified data infrastructure. It's like we're snarkifying the Bitcoin blockchain, the Ethereum blockchain, all the popular blockchains, and creating like a snarkified version of the graph, so that we have this this zero knowledge graph of blockchain data from all these other chains that these digital assets reside on, and we can do like zkP applications using that graph information. So it's pretty cool stuff.
Adam here asked basically the same question I was going to ask next, which is that, like, so it's not really as complicated as it sounds, but you throw around zk-SNARKs and snarkifying and all this stuff. At the very basic level, could you explain to people what zero knowledge proofs are, what zk-SNARKs are, and why they're so important? Because it's insane. It's really world changing. I hate to say that, but for anyone who cares about privacy or their data being shown, it's unbelievable. So you're obviously better to describe it than me.
Yeah, I mean, so the problem that we're solving is basically this like Silicon Valley business model of throwing out free platforms and people just use them like crazy and generate a ton of data. That data is like the oil of the future economy, or even today's modern economy, but you don't control it at all. Basically, you don't even realize who's harvesting your data, and the economic rewards of this stuff are huge. So what we're doing with like zero knowledge cryptography is a class of cryptography that is so important, because what you can do is you can broadcast information to a public network, which is what blockchains are, encrypted, but still, because of something called homomorphic encryption, you can actually perform mathematical operations, or call it computation, on the encrypted data without revealing the encrypted data itself, right? And give credit to where credit's due. This is what Zcash brought to market. So if you want the simplest example, think Zcash, think Rob sending Scott some Zen, and I want to do it completely shielded. I don't want the world to know like that it's me. I don't want the world to know it's Scott. I don't want the world to know how much is being sent. But what we've been doing over the last several years is we've been extending this beyond coin transfer to actual like arbitrary data privacy, which is absolutely critical. So in the end, just to look it together, is we want to give you sovereignty of your own data. We want you to be able to broadcast a ton of stuff to the public blockchains that you own, you control, and you can monetize if you want to.
Right. So anytime a company, in theory, wants my private information, my social security number, my address, any of those things, I have to fill it out and send it. And then that data goes basically everywhere and is available to everyone. But with this, you can basically bundle it up and verify that it's true without sharing the data. So it's like saying all of the data is here. It is accurate, say for checking your credit report, right? Yep. Someone needs to check my credit. I don't want to give them all that data. I just want to show them that it's true. It can verify it, correct?
100%. So this is the missing link for blockchain to go mainstream. And I know, like, us in the crypto industry, we think blockchain is mainstream. It's not. Like, NFTs are hot, DeFi's hot, but it's not mainstream yet. This is that tech that's going to make it go mainstream. This is why we built one of the best, basically in-house R&D capabilities in the world to deal with it.
I love it. What makes Horizen different from other blockchain platforms like Ethereum, Cosmos, and Polkadot? I think we touched on some of it, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things. So, I mean, Ethereum, number one, is the kind of like North Star, the role model of, wow, how to build a dev ecosystem. They do it right. Basically, they threw a virtual machine around a blockchain so that you can actually compile information back down to a blockchain from a Turing-complete scripting language, right? Great, but it's a victim of its own success because it's wrapped around a single blockchain. You have a throughput limit. What we've done there is we're going to launch an EVM, an Ethereum virtual machine, but as a Horizen sidechain product. So you can have thousands of Ethereum virtual machines if you want running in our ecosystem. So it's basically leveraging their success because we think they're awesome. They've done a kick-ass job. And we want that in our ecosystem. We want to be compatible and interoperable with all of these guys. Cosmos, we basically created a competitor to IBC, their interoperability protocol, but just swap out the centralized certifiers with SNARK proofs. So basically, you don't even need a certifier. You actually have aggregated SNARK proofs that are sent back to the Horizen main chain. Polkadot, same thing. And the same line of thinking is replace those super expensive validators on Polkadot because Polkadot is also super successful. And a lot of people want to run parachain, but these parachains cost a lot of money for security reasons. And because there's a limited capacity of how many you can have, there's a lot of competition there and the prices have gone through the roof. For us, we're kind of sticking with Satoshi's vision of we want things to be decentralized, permissionless, and cheap because we want to get out there.
I think we have a new, by the way, advertising slogan here for Drew. So Drew always shows up and just says hilarious stuff in my streams, but he says, "Then do or do not, there is no try." And I thought that was funny. So
I love it.
I did share that. You guys should steal that. Drew, can they borrow it? Let me know. I think they can borrow it. So
I'll send you a Zen for it.
Dan Bev wants to know about the transaction costs.
They're cheap. I mean, so they're cheap completely. And basically, we have two product lines with the system. One transaction cost is basically like these Cardano-like blockchains that I mentioned as our sidechains, like 0.00, like 1/10,000th of a cent for transaction cost. Now, the Ethereum virtual machines that we're going to launch, I mean, that's going to be, significantly higher transaction costs because they have a virtual machine, but it'll be fractions of a fraction of what you get on Ethereum right now.
Because Ethereum's so cheap.
so successful, right? I mean,
listen, I love Ethereum. You're not, I'm a huge fan, but it's prohibitive, right? I mean, when you go on one of these platforms, you're like, you have failed transactions that cost you $300, right? I mean, you didn't even pay for nothing for the right to be there. It's obviously a huge problem. And so it's good to see others definitely solving that. Rob seems interested in DeFi. Any plans on DeFi and Zendu?
I'm obsessed with DeFi. I mean, my degree is in finance, right? So I'm super pumped. Like I think DeFi is going to change the world. In fact, I actually met with a few banks yesterday in a Latin American country who I could sense the FOMO from these guys. Basically, I told them, you got to learn about this DeFi thing because if you don't, you're not going to be around tomorrow, right? This thing is going to change the world, especially in Latin America or developing markets. People are going to want access to these services for basic banking services, deposit services, basically asset swaps, and basically joining the modern financial world and doing it in a permissionless way in Web3 platforms, right? So I'm a huge fan. Horizen's gonna, I think, kill it in DeFi. It's just we started with the basics. We needed the interoperability protocol. Zendu's going live on Wednesday, and from there we're obsessed. We have an internal road to DeFi, as we call it, and we're just picking out the step after step on how we're going to get this active in our ecosystem. Everything from tokenization to launching EVM, so you can basically port over all the successful smart contracts in Ethereum today.
Perfect. What's the Zenny token? I saw that was when I was reading through everything, that was the first thing being launched on Zendu.
This is like our version of a meme token. It's a fun thing we want to reward our community with. And basically, look, you can finally tokenize something on Horizen, right? This is like, we're a blockchain platform has been around for 5 years and you couldn't tokenize previously. Now you can tokenize something. Zenny's our mascot. Have a Zenny token.
Perfect. So which platforms will support Horizen to buy? Well, I think they already do, but you can,
Yeah, I mean, we're all over. Recently, we're listed on Coinbase or on Binance US, really all the big ones. Check them out.
Yeah, perfect. Can you tell something about the early adopter program?
Totally. This is for developers because we realized developers are the heart of the ecosystem. So we set up, it was really early, guys. Basically, when we launched the beta version of Zendu, we launched a beta version of the SDK. We wanted developers to get in there really early access and just give them access to our team so that you have questions. We know the SDK is rudimentary right now. It's not a refined commercial product. We'll work with you. We'll help you deploy. So it's really just designed to incentivize and really educate developers.
So this goes back to our ZK conversation, all the potential use cases. Any plans to utilize ZK in healthcare?
I think that is an awesome question. We don't have, Horizen Labs does not have a partnership in the healthcare space right now. I want one. I think this is probably one of the biggest killer use cases. I will say our general counsel, and right now the guy who runs our BD strategy team, he was the general counsel of the biggest healthcare communication app. So we do have a foothold, a little toehold in the healthcare market. We were just waiting for the stuff to go live before we really aggressively enter. I mean,
imagine being able to share your medical records without sharing everything in your medical record. I mean,
it's the best use case of zero knowledge, right?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So what are Horizen's future plans for the metaverse? Every conversation I have, no matter who it's with, by the way, ends in the metaverse, and then it goes on for 40 minutes about that.
So this week we're making an announcement. I think it's this week we're doing it around Art Basel. We're going to make an announcement, or the company we're partnering with is going to make the announcement. These guys are going to be a powerhouse in the metaverse world. It's basically a gaming engine that just is open up for people to come in there and have your own You can own your own sports franchise. You can be an agent to recruit your own kind of simulated players. And it's an amazing platform that I think is going to be like kind of an addictive metaverse, and that's going to be built completely on Horizen. So all that stuff, all the NFTs, all the tokens in there, stable coins, everything is going to be in the Horizen ecosystem. That's our first and biggest metaverse play. I think it's going to be huge.
Are you surprised at how fast NFT and metaverse adoption is hit, or did you see it coming because you were building?
No, in fact, I think because I was building, like I didn't see anything coming. Like I was one of the first market makers on like BitShares back in the day. And this was like the stablecoin platform, the DEX, right? And because I was in there, I completely missed the product market fit that Uniswap brought, right? I was one of the first advisors to what's today Aave. And like, I have to say, like, I love the guys, love the team. I love the ETH lens that they were called at the time. But like, I just completely missed the product market fit moment for Aave. Like I was blown away and like amazingly surprised by it. So yeah, same thing with Metaverse. Did not.
If it makes you feel any better, I was completely taken aback, and still, it's hard to keep up. How does the network stop someone putting up illegal content on a permissionless sidechain?
So we can't. I mean, that's just the reality of it. And same thing with any blockchain platform. You can broadcast, illicit content on the Bitcoin blockchain if you wanted to. We're a public blockchain. This is the trade-off with it because we want like real decentralization.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Yeah, with decentralization, people have to be responsible.
Right, exactly.
For sure. Can you walk through why people would choose to build on top of Zen versus any of the other competitors? I think we touched on this a little bit, but what are the advantages, if there's anything sort of that we missed?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest one is, so if you want to get into the zero-knowledge crypto space, we are one of the conduits to do it, right? So we are like a ZKP privacy version of Web3, right? So that's probably one of the biggest threads for why people should do it. We also have great tools, super low cost. The thing scales like a beast because we can have thousands of sidechains running in parallel. So if you ever had capacity constraints, like as an example, if you were Twitter or you were some social media platform and you wanted to deploy on a blockchain, our infrastructure provides a great place to do that because we have 50,000 nodes. We have up to 10,000 blockchains. So if your blockchain you deployed on ever ran into capacity constraints, deploy another one. Deploy another one after that, right? Just keep deploying them because it scales massively and the costs actually don't scale with usage like they do on other single blockchain platforms.
Okay, so this next question is so far over my head that I want you to tell me if you know what he's talking about. How about self-sovereign digital identities? Any partnerships in that area?
Heck yeah, I love this question. Great question, Chris. So actually, yes, and I'm a big believer in this because if we are going to bring bottom billion of people into the modern financial world, they need digital identities, right? I mean, this is a problem even for people in the US and Western Europe, but for people to really access Web3 platforms at scale, they need a privacy-preserving digital identity. Now, people can say, why privacy-preserving? But if you're going to put your personal information on a public ledger, you really ought to have that strongly encrypted, right? So we're actually working with a bank and the largest bank by assets under management in Africa with another major blockchain company out there where we're doing a zk-ID, so a zero-knowledge-based ID system. For us, it's a proof of concept that we're going to leverage into a more scalable like Web3 zk-ID.
How many people are on your team? It's like every 5 minutes, like, yeah, we got this. Another partnership. And we're
no. We can't hire fast enough. I wish. No, I mean, we have probably something like 100 people on our team right now, but we have great partnerships. We're partnered with IOHK, the R&D team behind Cardano. We're partnered with some of the biggest like system integrators, blockchain companies in the world, like NTT Data, InfoPulse. We just have a really great kind of coalition that we built and like an awesome community.
Clearly, as I can see, because they're over here just loading us with questions. Yet another one over my head. Will MEV be eliminated when using Zen because of snarks?
Sorry, brain fart on MEV. If you
Me too. I don't know. So that's why I was like, yeah, he'll know.
I wish. No, I'm
Rob's a space scientist. He knows what this is. What vision did you pitch to Grayscale? Another one that I'm going to throw out there, and I'm not sure what the context is.
Actually, yeah, thanks for bringing this up. I forgot to mention, like another big thing is we are supported by Grayscale, like a digital currency group, DCG and Grayscale. We're the first institutions to actually support Horizen way back in the day when we had nothing going for us other than being like privacy coin, right? So what we get actually, what investors get is Grayscale launched the Horizen Investment Trust. So it's basically like when you go into your brokerage account and you buy GBTC, now you can actually go and buy HZen. in your brokerage account. So we're one of maybe, I don't know, 10 products in the world where you can buy your cryptocurrency in your US brokerage account. Not Coinbase, but like your Charles Schwab account, your Fidelity account, because Grayscale is one of our big supporters. Now, what did we do to pitch them? I think that they like the vision and they like the team. So I'm really fortunate and humbled to be surrounded by just incredible people on our team. And I think that that's what Grayscale saw.
Yeah, they're incredible. I mean, GBTC has more assets under management than GLD. That blew my mind when I saw that recently.
I know,
that
these
GBTC
guys are changing
was bigger
the
than the
world.
largest gold ETF in the world.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So will Zen be split adjusted in future?
Great question. We actually had a vigorous debate in our community, preliminary debate. And the answer was no, the community didn't seem to want to. I'm a fan of it. In fact, I think we should as we go, especially from coin to like utility token. I think it's a great idea. I'm going to vote for it, but I mean, the reality is we're a decentralized ecosystem. We have to do things by the book with the community. And thus far, it doesn't look like the community wanted it because they like the valuable like messaging. Oh, if Zen goes to $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, that signals that we're like Berkshire Hathaway, right? Like a really valuable organization. So that was that perspective. I do respect it enough to the point where I would never consider going against the community perspective.
Imagine a world in the legacy market where a company or CEO listen to their community. It's just when you hear you talk about it, I respect it. I disagree with the decision, but we're going to do it. It would never hear that in most places. And I think that's such a compelling like argument for crypto, you know, and for what you guys are doing. I love it. I think this gives us sort of a segue into just a whole other, version of what we're talking about, because what is the long-term vision? What is Horizen's long-term vision? I mean, we're just launching on Wednesday, right? You're just launching on Wednesday, but like I said, I kind of wasn't ahead of the NFT trend. I've seen the metaverse coming, but it's happening way faster than I thought. There have to be things now 5-10 years down the road that we haven't even thought of that you have to sort of be preparing for, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that my thesis is that blockchains will be commoditized. Basically, we're talking commoditized infrastructure on the back end, and that's where we're going. So in order to be really successful in that long-term game in crypto, it's not about, necessarily FOMO. It's not about like, specific use cases. It's about actually getting the infrastructure right, getting the economics right so it scales massively. This is where we're going. So basically, we know we need privacy tools if this tech is going to scale, and we know we need to make it dirt cheap, right? So we're really focusing heavily on that, and that's why we came up with Zendu that doesn't scale in cost, that is massively scalable just in infrastructure. We have 50,000 nodes on the network. The cost per transaction is trivial, like minuscule, right? And we're one of the world's biggest experts in zero-knowledge proofs. So we're basically piecing the ingredients together and then layer this on strategically: compatibility and interoperability. This is the message here. Now, any blockchain that thinks they're going to build in their own world and ignore the rest of the industry is insane, and they're going to be outcompeted long-term. So what we want to do is we want to be at the heart of the crypto industry. And this is why we even work with projects outside of Horizen, like the Board API Club, because we want expertise everywhere. We want to bring them in. We want to be interoperable with everyone, compatible with everything important, right? And that's where we're going. That's our long-term strategy, because I do think that this technology will be commoditized, right? It will be ubiquitous. It'll be everywhere. Every app we run, whether it's on our phone, our computer, if our refrigerator's talking to their neighbor's solar panel, it'll happen on a blockchain. We want to be that blockchain because we're part of the biggest interoperable network.
So basically, to be the infrastructure and sort of underlying technology for everything that's built in the future.
At my level,
it doesn't matter what it is or what that vision is. You just need to provide the building blocks for it.
That's at my level because I'm focusing on the protocol. But we have other amazing partners who are really like passionate, diehard about NFTs is the thing, DeFi is the thing. And the great thing about having a great protocol is they can all come in and build successfully in our ecosystem.
Perfect. How much Zen do sidechains need to spin up a sidechain?
So the real answer is 0 or a fraction of a Zen. But the reality is, if you want more security, you want more Zen, right? And if you're a developer and you want people like nodes to run your software, and we have like 50,000 of them that could choose to run your sidechains, you have to bid for them. So basically, it's like a competitive bidding marketplace. You say, okay, well, I'm going to set 10 cents per transaction. the go-to node operators who run a node on my sidechain. Great. The transaction fees themselves are dirt cheap, and then the amount of Zen that you want in there is really just a function of the security that you want. So if you're running like a central bank, digital currency as a Horizen sidechain, maybe one day, knock on wood, you're going to want to park a lot of Zen in there for security, in addition to the SNARK circuits that we have, right? We have multiple layers of security here, proof of work, hybrid, proof of stake, and so forth. But still, beef it up, maximize defense in depth, buy a lot of Zen. If you're a college student, you're deploying kind of like a hobby project, you really don't need anything.
You brought it up. Central bank digital currencies. So do you think that they will be built on crypto-based blockchain? I mean, we know they're coming, right? Whether for better or for worse. Do you think that they will be built on blockchains like yours, or do you think that governments will effectively build their own private chains to do that?
Yeah, I have a few different perspectives. One is I love the power of competition, and I think that one of them will. And that one will probably be one of the most successful ones because it's part of a competitive public blockchain world. Most of them won't. Their instincts are going to be dig your heels on the ground like a stubborn donkey and don't give up power, right? And they're not going to want to pre-program like all the rules of the game into a smart contract to issue a digital currency. They're not going to want that. They're going to want complete control over it. So they're going to want private networks, not connected to anything else. And they're going to want discretionary authority to change the rules of the game whenever they want. I don't think that's going to fly and be super successful long-term. In the short run, cool, a lot of FOMO. You see central banks coming in. But I think in particular the U.S. central bank or Federal Reserve System will have challenges just because of the relationship with banks as well. And like, who's going to control this thing? Where will power reside? Will deposits all of a sudden, shift big time out of the banking system into the central bank digital currency? I don't know. I'm probably not qualified enough to opine on it. But I think the future's decentralized. The future's competitive. And if you're not playing in that game, you're probably going to lose out long run.
I agree. Jane wants to know, will you be at Art Basel? I know the answer because I asked you before.
I am going to be there. Yes, exactly. Reach out. Love to hang out.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, that's the huge, it's been a legacy, as we call everything that isn't crypto, legacy art show for ages, probably the biggest in the world, but crypto is taking it over this year. It's unbelievable. Everything seems to be an NFT show down there now. So if you're in Miami, check Rob out for sure. What if Zen becomes as big as Ethereum? Won't the fees increase as the network gets bigger and have the same problems as Ethereum?
Not at all. Because again, like I said, you could just keep on deploying more blockchains. So if the fees ever became too much on a single side chain, you just launch another one and launch another one. The V1 of our protocol, the first version, has capacity for up to 10,000 blockchains. We're not going to stop there. We're going to be constantly iterating and improving the protocol and constantly opening this up. So as of now, there's no way that we're going to have enough kind of transaction load where all of a sudden fees are going to go up. Now, that said, I would love to be as successful as Ethereum one day. Those guys have done a fantastic job and the community is awesome. I would love to see that in Horizen.
Awesome. I didn't mean to click on this one. It's amazing. Can you use your connection to Grayscale to get big projects on Zen Chain? I was gonna be like, can you call Barry and tell him I've been trying to get in touch with him?
Those guys are fiercely independent, and I am such a small fry. No way, can't. But I actually love them, and where would we be without them? So we really value the support. Now, what I can say is they are continuing to support our ecosystem, and they continue to make bets, to really grow and boost our ecosystem. So. They come on their own terms with what makes sense for their portfolio, but they're strong supporters and continue to support.
So I love that. Just this one's awesome. GT, proud to be 10 secure noder, 1 super node soon.
Yes, love it.
So your people are definitely in here. If the community wanted to change the emission schedule of coins, how would that work? And is there a formal defined process for such changes?
There is, yeah. So it's called the Zen Improvement Proposal System. So it's ZenIP, and it's modeled after Zcash, right? Zcash, and they modeled theirs on Bitcoin. So it's really just kind of standard that's evolved in this ecosystem. It starts there, but what we're also doing is we're launching a Horizen Community Council just to kind of aggregate even more detailed information from the community to understand sentiment. And then from there, we're also going to be launching a DAO so people can directly vote on these kinds of things. I'm uncomfortable personally making unilateral decisions in our ecosystem without community support. And that's why we haven't had the infrastructure thus far to really do things like that. Yes, we have our open GitHub. It's open source. We have the ZenIP process out there. People can, contribute on GitHub and comment on GitHub. But to me, that's unsatisfying because what that really means in practice is that people who are familiar with GitHub are going to have all their voices heard. Not everyone's going to have their voices heard, right? So I'm a big fan of the community council we're launching. I encourage our community members, please participate. I think this is going to be a phenomenal experiment in open governance. Right? We have a global community. As an example, Horizen in Korea is exploding, right? Like we have our most robust, like rigorous community right now is in Korea. And like they have their own like self-organized dozen council members that like steer the community there. It's amazing. I've never seen this type of organic growth before that's just so passionate. We're trying to replicate that globally now, and we'd love people to participate.
Awesome. So, MEV, minor extractable value.
Okay, so what was can we pull up the original question?
I don't remember what the question was.
So
I just wanted
something,
to
yeah. Okay, something with minor extractable value and ZKPs. So I don't know if this answers the question exactly, but proof of work isn't going away in the near future for Horizen, right? So it's still the core blockchain is proof of work. The sidechains that we're choosing to launch, we're launching proof of stake first, right? So really, certificates that are sent back from sidechains back to the main chain are all broadcast with Zen, and that Zen goes to miners on there. So actually, miners should be getting like significantly more transaction fees as part of the block formation process with Zendu than prior to Zendu. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, I think you hit it and have a better memory than me. Well, I'm like a goldfish. What was it? What are your thoughts on the current state of regulation in crypto? Do you think this could potentially slow down innovation?
Like it's early days and it's encouraging and discouraging. So you see some countries like China have completely banned crypto, which I think is insane. Other countries like India go back and forth with it. Again, insane. Countries like the US realize we want, at least so far, we want to be competitive. Massive financial institutions, VCs, hedge funds, a lot of money is flowed in. I suspect that will have some influence in the regulatory process. And I think the US is doing it right. So they're trying to encourage innovation by basically, they regulate the points of exchange where you could have like money laundering as an example, right? That's the point of focus for regulators. I'm not a legal expert on it, but I'm actually encouraged that like the First Amendment covers free speech in code so far is speech. And the US has not tried to infringe on that at all. And I think that's why so much innovation is happening in the US.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you hear about the infrastructure bill and the language, but I take sort of your positive approach, which is first of all, it doesn't even go into law for another 2 years. I think there's plenty of time for them to fix a couple sentences.
Exactly.
And make it much more reasonable. What is Rob's biggest goal for Horizen in 2022?
Wow. I'd say EVM. I'm obsessed with the EVM, as our tech team knows, because I think it's so critical. This is a bit of a pivot for us because before we were just so excited about the tech that we're bringing. Like it was all about Zendu, this interoperability thing. And then we got to the point of, okay, wow, we actually did that. I can't believe we pulled that off. Now what do we do? So the idea was we continue down the path of like our own kind of optimized stack that works with that. Or the decision was, let's build an Ethereum virtual machine in the ecosystem so that we can just quickly catch up and be compatible with all the other cool stuff that's happening in DeFi and NFTs. That's the big thing for us. And my prediction is that's where like we're already having big expansion of our community and like partner engagement. By the time it's going to be a ramp up point, by the time that EVM goes live, it's just going to go exponential in terms of adoption because all of a sudden we're now connected with and part of what's going on in the rest of crypto. Thus far, we haven't been. We've been in our silo building our nerdy ZKP stuff that I think is the future. But now we're ready to get out there. This is like our big coming out with Zendu.
Awesome. Do you anticipate existing top 50 blockchains porting over to Zen, or are you targeting new build blockchains to set up?
No, so I think, okay, the way we've done it is we've actually been partnering with a lot of the top 50. So some partners that I can mention, we've been partnered with IOTA, Dash, Hedera, partnered with. So we already have some really good partnerships in blockchain. And then also like one of the biggest private blockchain companies in the world, Symbiont, we're partnered with. They're private blockchain for the financial industry. Clients like Vanguard, right? $1 trillion assets under management. So we have a lot of that stuff already. And then we're going to build interoperability paths or bridges to Ethereum for starters. I think interoperability with Cardano is going to be an easy one for us since we built like a Cardano stack with our sidechain system. And then from there, I would love an IBC integration with Cosmos. I would love to just keep going down the list. I would love to be interoperable with Polkadot. Really, for me, it's not about being the blockchain to rule them all. I want us to be a connector to all of them. So we're going to push hard for that.
So awesome. Best wallets for Zen storage. And we're wearing you out here. You can't believe how many questions people have asked.
I'm going to need
I'm
glass
trying
of
to
water.
I'm trying to read them while it's amazing how many questions people have.
Maybe a shot at some good Puerto Rican rum
There you
after
go.
this. But, but I'm in Puerto Rico, guys, in case you couldn't tell from the sunshine behind me. So yeah, best wallet. We have Sphere by Horizen is kind of our flagship wallet that we've developed. And what we're doing now is we're going to be deploying like a version of like MetaMask. So we're going to have a nice web wallet as well. And I would just stick with those for now.
Yeah. I would definitely use the ones that you guys built yourself. You're in Puerto Rico, so I'm going to bring this one up. Have you discussed Horizen with your neighbor, EOS founder Brock Pierce? And what were his comments? Are you guys in the Citadel down there together?
No, we're not. I'm in more of a residential neighborhood with my 3-year-old kid. But no, so I mean, I'm more of a family guy, hanging around at nighttime, reading books and playing, putting together puzzles. But no, I know the crowd. We do hang out. We have a really close-knit crypto community here. So yes, they're all very much aware of Horizen. And for those who are going to be in the Puerto Rico Blockchain Week, come down. We're actually going to have a big chunk of our leadership team here, and we're going to be presenting and just showing off what we're doing to the rest of the crypto crowd.
When is that?
Puerto Rico. It is not next week, but wait, the week of the 6th. Is it next week?
So yeah,
it is next week.
Yeah, basically, that's awesome. What is the average speed of transaction between a sidechain and the main chain, and vice versa?
So it's completely configurable. So the way that we just build is we want to be general on the technology and let the developers configure it themselves. So what we have actually with the Ouroboros-Prowse consensus that we have is basically like a slot interval system. So basically the slots are kind of like a proof of stake version of block forging. Packages transactions into blocks, they get added to slots. I think the slot time they were looking at was something like 10 minutes, just as a general purpose thing. But I mean, it's completely configurable. And we have a 2.5-minute block cycle time on the main chain. So basically, the side chains can be configured to just match or mimic the main chain block cycle time if you want, or you can make them longer depending on what applications you want. If you wanted to, as an example, minimize transaction costs, you could bundle more blocks together and send that back to the main chain in chunks. Or if you want it to be more granular because you want the security quicker, then you just send it back at the main chain block cycle.
So completely, it's completely flexible.
And by the way, like I hate hard numbers. I hate hard numbers because we're going to modernize our main chain in a big way. And we're going to start this design work next year, right? So even this whole 2.5-minute block cycle time from like the Zcash stack that we bootstrapped from, that's going to change. We're going to have a complete modernization. We started off talking about Mina originally because we actually do SNARK recursion to keep the blockchain size completely succinct for sidechains. We're going to use that same tech on our main chain. We're going to completely change the nature of our main chain. That's why I try not to be too specific about the numbers that we have in existence today.
Are there plans to make hardware wallet storage available for private wallet addresses?
That's a big one, and I'm not sure. The truth is I'm not sure. So we do have a ledger integration, which is really important on the hardware side for us. But in terms of shielded addresses, honestly, couldn't tell you what the plan is to support those.
So I saw Horizen's in the chat, but a lot of people have been talking about the faucet. Can you talk about what that is? Because it's
sure.
All this inside conversation about the faucet over here.
Like in the early days of Bitcoin, there were these faucets that just basically, we call them a faucet because they drip free Bitcoin, now free Zen out to people. So the idea is like, if you're nervous about jumping into cryptocurrency, come get some for free. We'll give you some free Zen, test out the wallet and play around with it, right? Join our community hub and participate there. It's really an educational hub and we'll give you some free Zen. That's how it started. The foundation doesn't even run it anymore. We kind of handed that off, but it's still a great kind of entry point for people.
Perfect. C-Dog has all the good questions over here, man. If something goes wrong on the network, is there a way to roll it back? Some other projects have 5 independent people with keys that together can rectify a mistake.
No, we don't have that. It's a completely decentralized public blockchain, just like Ethereum. That said, now Ethereum did roll back during the DAO attack, right? So, this is really a matter for the community. And if the community ever says something was so catastrophic, we just want to start over, and, basically starting from some previous block. Okay, that's something that's technically possible, but as a team, we have no special keys or ability to change blocks or anything like that. This is completely decentralized.
Someone wants to know if they can volunteer at the conference in Puerto Rico.
Would love to. If you're here, no, seriously, reach out.
Awesome. So I wanted to ask you something that was on my mind before, just sort of a macro picture. We've been talking so much about Zen here and all the specifics of the thing you're doing, but rarely get to talk to someone who is passionate about Bitcoin and crypto so early. I think, what's your take on just the general, I guess, state of the union right now? I mean, so much institutional adoption, but still early regulation, all of these things. People seem to be so like kind of obsessed with what's happening with the price, but having seen it from sort of nearly its infancy, how should people be viewing this market right now?
I mean, this is really game-changing stuff, guys. I mean, I could not say like more passionately that we're at the heart of a revolution going on. Like the world's most peaceful, prolific, fastest revolution in history is going on right now in crypto. That said, there's a lot of hype, there's a lot of scams, a lot of terrible projects out there. The problem is information asymmetry. It's really hard to tell who are the guys who really know what they're doing, who are the scammers, who are people that have good intentions, but they're still going to fail because they can't execute, right? So there's a whole list here of this is going to be a crazy market. It's going to go skyrocketing exponential. It's going to crash like off a cliff, and it's going to go back and forth in these cycles. But I'm a huge long-term believer in this stuff. I mean, I got into Bitcoin. I had no idea we would get beyond the cypherpunk crowd. I was getting in as like a cypherpunk wannabe, right? And I thought I had more time, right? I wish I bought more Bitcoin earlier. I started buying early, and I started, just kind of every 2 weeks with my paycheck buying. I wish I went all in, threw my chips all into it, but I thought that we would just be a small community, forever. I had no idea where the industry would go, and what I can say, the biggest advice is I have no idea where the industry is going to be in 5 or 10 years. And I'm not even talking about price. I'm talking about the applications. When we look at our phones, how many blockchain applications will we use? When we put in our VR headsets, how many blockchain digital assets will we be touching? It'll be part of everything that we do. And like our generation today is just witness to the change. Our kids and grandkids won't even know what the old world looked like. They're going to be all crypto native from the very start.
Yeah, it's going to be like, I don't think about how my phone works, right? It just works. I don't think about how the internet works. It just works. Like, we're still talking about it, but one day it'll just work.
Look, Scott, when we were kids, this was like sci-fi. We couldn't have even imagined this.
Kidding me? Oh my gosh, no way. I remember the brick car phones and being like that. We'll never. That's it.
Right.
So we're basically flying in space right now. Yeah, I mean it's absolutely true. So that's why I asked before. It's sort of just hard to imagine what this looks like 5-10 years with the velocity of development. I mean, you basically answered this, but how do you see crypto in the future? Mass adoption. I guess the question is, do we reach mass adoption? And is that just the underlying technology part that you talked about? I think when people talk about mass adoption, like everyone owns Bitcoin, that's not really what this is about, right?
Exactly. No. I mean, mass adoption is going to be when something that you touch every single day, or many of the things that you touch every single day, whether or not you're like, today we open our phone and call an Uber driver. Tomorrow it'll probably be opening our phone or talking to some headset on us that just calls a blockchain application, right? Yeah, chip in our brain calls a blockchain application, and the automated car comes to pick us up. That transaction will be entirely crypto native, right? When like I said, the refrigerator is talking to the neighbor's solar panels, that transaction will be completely crypto native, right? All of these things, and they're going to cascade. And when technologies cascade, you hit critical mass. In the way these things combine is just really unimaginable, and I think extremely beneficial. Now, there are downsides to crypto, and we hope that as an industry, we can at least have the right ethical people in place, like pushing the technologies in a good way, and trying to be. I think if we stick to the ethical standards of what I thought Bitcoin was early, open, inclusive, permissionless. We want the world to be invited in. We don't want it to be this exclusive little club where we just created new billionaires. We actually want to be open. We want to make the world a better place. And the way we're going to do that, the way we're going to overcome opposition, is by actually like getting out there and making people's lives better before they even know what's coming at them. Right. So that's the way I view this stuff. And that's kind of the ethos behind Horizen. I think oftentimes culture in organizations matters a lot. And our culture is one where we really want to make the world a better place. It's not just about the next FOMO and spike of the price of Zen. Yeah. We're going to be around here for hundreds of years, and we're trying to set the foundations to do it right.
Sort of one of the internal conflicts that I deal with in this space, because for years it's been like institutional adoption. They're coming, the big money, whatever. But at the core, you're like, it was supposed to be short the bankers, long Bitcoin, right? And
Exactly.
but it's interesting. You talk about it as like a lot of people talk about adoption as like all the big companies and legacy, but we're kind of supposed to be opting out of that as well. Do you see that as a conflict, or do you think that they can come on board too and we can still maintain the ethos?
Exactly. No, that's exactly how I view it. For me, it's not about like, I don't live in a protagonist antagonist type of world. To me, we're all human and we're trying to all do what we can to make life better for as many as we can. At least that's kind of my delusion, the way I see the world, right? And I think whether you're a small entrepreneur, you're an artist, you're a designer, or you're like Jimmy Dimon running a large investment bank, we should all be coming together, all trying to focus our resources to really make the world a better place. The more we could get them on board, the better, because they're coming into our world. We're not going to their world. Our world is open source. Our world is permissionless. They want to come, they have to play by our rules, versus historically historically, it's been the other way around.
Awesome. Does Will Horizen offer entry-level positions for devs or aspiring creatives? Good, Blaze. Shoot your shot.
100%. Yes, absolutely. So go to horizen.io, like Zen, the ticker symbol, horizen.io, and you'll see open positions. Go to horizenlabs.io. You'll see more open positions. We really can't hire enough. Now, what I will say is we have a fantastic kind of core engineering group and cryptography group, mathematicians and so forth, but we still need more like technology leaders, because as we bring on junior people, I really believe in pairing them with mentors so they can really learn. Like, it's not about, you don't want to bring someone on and then have them not have the opportunity to succeed. So we are trying to expand our senior leadership right now, and then like kind of mid-level leadership, management, and at the same time, we're still open to top talents. Like, everyone, please check it out, come participate. And I will say, Horizen or not Horizen, like, this industry is the future. You should try to participate. And the way you participate, the best way you can apply, go to our GitHub repositories and try to add some contribution that makes sense for you, right? Maybe you're not a C++ programmer. Maybe you can help with some Python unit tests, right? Maybe you're not good with Rust crypto libraries, but you can help with our website. Whatever it is, like, come and just start participating. Join our Discord, and we have developer groups in Discord. Be part of the community. There's no better way to interview than to just be part of our community. That's where we source the best talent.
You're hired. And from Horizen, we also have an ambassador program that enables you to design your own ambassadorship and earn for your time and efforts. Just for clarification on that, if that's something that you're looking for. Yeah. And I can't believe I just looked up and it's 2:28, which means we have about 2 minutes left. So first, before we're done, I want to remind everybody, first of all the information you need about Horizen, you can click on down below, but they're giving away $1,000. They're giving you guys $1,000 in Zen tokens. All you have to do is click on that link down below and enter. That's literally the caveat. But we also, and you can get 50% off the store. I'm going shopping right after this with the code Scott Melker, which is also linked down below. But Rob, you wanted to give away some free swag, right? So two basically $50 gift certificates to the store, which we will send you after, but you basically have to choose 2 people, which could be like your favorite comments. I can go back and find them. Favorite questions.
Yeah, randomly. My memory's not that good, so
I'm putting it on you.
Yeah,
we can just do it randomly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just. Well, you know what? I mean, Sea Dog. This guy's asked so many questions. I can't. We're not gonna answer because Sea Dog, you got $50. And Blaze, who wants a job, you're getting $50. So you can, both of you guys, you can email info@thewolfofallstreets.io, info@thewolfofallstreets.io, and we will get you those codes for those $50. So listen, before we're done here, everybody enter for $1,000. Is there anything we missed? You guys are doing so much. I feel like we covered most of it, but if you have any parting thoughts, anything you'd like to share on the way out.
I'm an old guy these days, and my memory's not as good as it used to be. So all I could say is go to horizen.io, one-stop shop for everything. And by the way, as of Wednesday, we'll have a brand new website, which I think is fantastic and really highlights what we are today and what we're going to be tomorrow, versus the current website is more who we were, a few years ago. So super pumped for the new website to go live on Wednesday, and just check it out. Join our Discord, be part of our Telegram groups.
Absolutely amazing. And Rob, so I know you're going to be in Miami. I'm going to see you down there, right? We're going to hook up.
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. Yeah. And anybody else who's down at Art Basel, come find us. We'll probably be on the move, I would imagine, all of us down there. It's going to be absolutely nuts, but I can't wait. So Rob, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Really incredible. Like it's pretty mind blowing. If you had asked me even a year ago, it's just the like I said, the velocity of innovation in this space is mind blowing. I do this, I feel like 24/7, and I can't keep up.
Scott, I've been a big fan for a while. I've been following you on Twitter for, I don't know, years probably. So, I mean, I'm pumped. This is really cool. I'm so happy that the project is finally at the point where we can, expose it to your viewers and just be part of this.
I think you've probably got there a long time ago, but thank you very much. That's very flattering. Appreciate it. Guys, everyone, thank you so much again. Please enter the contest. Check out all the links down below and everything that Horizen has going on. And of course, Wednesday is the big launch. So you guys keep tuned in that. Follow Rob, follow Horizen for all the updates on that. I will see all of you guys tomorrow morning. Thanks once again, Rob. Peace, guys.
Thank you.